has given us a game. Boy, I want to manage that team. Now, once again, it'd be a 1-2 to judge.
Coming up, the U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates. TurboTax is refunding customers over $100 million, and a baseball legend wins his 2,000th game. All this and more as PS News starts right now. Thank you for joining us on this busy Wednesday night. I'm Benny Nazai.
And I'm Michael DeMarco. Let's take a look at what's happening around the world.
Pope Francis warns the leader of the Russian Orthodox Church about becoming, quote, Putin's altar boy. During an interview with an Italian daily newspaper, Francis talked about a recent Zoom conversation he had with Patriarch Kirill. The Pope says Kirill gave all his justifications for the Russian attack on Ukraine. Francis said he disagreed with Kirill's endorsement of the invasion, adding that people in their positions cannot be, quote, priests of states. The two religious leaders were scheduled to meet in Jerusalem in June, but they decided to postpone, fearing that it could send an ambiguous signal.
U.S. markets closed slightly higher on Tuesday as investors anticipate Wednesday's interest rate hike decision by the Federal Reserve. The central bank is expected to announce its first interest rate hike of 0.5 percentage point in more than 2 decades. This has Wall Street watchers preparing for other increases to tackle the worst inflation the U.S. has seen since the Reagan administration. John Lawrence reports.
The Federal Reserve helped the U.S. economy through the COVID-19 pandemic by dropping rates to near zero. Now the Fed is facing a new challenge, crushing inflation without bringing on a recession.
It's hard to catch up when you have to go very fast. It's also hard to catch up when you actually have to push monetary policy to a tight setting.
Coming up with a so-called soft landing could be difficult, in part because the jobs market is booming, and increasing the interest rate will likely change that.
This is a situation where wages have moved up at the highest rate in a very long time, and people are able to quit their jobs and move to better paying jobs.
The unemployment rate in the U.S. is at 3.6%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is considered full employment by the Fed.
They have to push up the unemployment rate, and in the past, when you've pushed up the unemployment rate, you've almost never been able to avoid a full-fledged recession.
The central bank raised rates by 0.25 percentage point in March, but some say that wasn't soon enough.
They wanted to start late because they wanted to see the economy get to full employment. But I think that's going to turn out, in retrospect, to have been a policy mistake. They should have gone a little bit sooner in terms of removing monetary policy accommodation.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
To the pandemic now, as it may not be long until there's a COVID-19 vaccine approved for kids under the age of 5. But having a vaccine in the U.S. for those young kids and vaccinating them are two completely different things. And there's a lot of parents who say they're on the fence right now. In fact, a new poll from Kaiser Family Foundation shows only 18% of parents with children under 5 said they would vaccinate them as soon as a vaccine was available. Nearly 40% want to wait and see, but only 11% said they'd only vaccinate their children if it was required, and 27% said that they definitely won't do it. The survey says the majority of parents are only hesitant is because they say they feel like, quote, they don't have enough information about the safety and effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccines for children in that specific age group. Ultimately, the FDA will determine the vaccine safety and effectiveness with meetings set for June.
Several attendees of the White House Correspondents' Dinner have tested positive for COVID-19. Reporters and staffers from CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and Politico have fallen ill. Politico reports ABC's John Carl has the virus. He shook hands with President Biden and sat next to Kim Kardashian. Though it was unlikely Carl was infectious at the time. The White House Correspondents Association says it had implemented protocols beyond local and federal guidance.
To the U.S.-Mexico border now, as thousands of migrants in the United States will automatically have their work permits extended for at least 6 more months. The Department of Homeland Security made the announcement Tuesday that the move is set to address the backlog of renewals. Immigrants allowed to work in the U.S. must renew their work permits on a regular basis. The office estimates around 87,000 applicants are up for renewal now or soon will be, and the process often takes years to complete. The new rule is intended to try to keep immigrants from losing their jobs as they await approval. If asylum seekers file for renewal before their permit expires, the new regulation will automatically extend it for up to 18 months. Without those renewals granted, work permits would lapse, and employers would have to terminate the workers. And that could further disrupt the supply chain in the U.S. The new regulation takes effect today. Now, coming up after the break, we'll toss it over to Jason for weather. Stay with us, folks.
Of the school's animation club. While other colleges' animation clubs strive to only show just straight anime, our club tries to be something different, as we show a variety of things such as Western animation, Eastern animation, internet animation, films, and so much more. If you want to meet people who have like-minded taste in animation, then feel free to come on down to our club.
Welcome back. I'm your meteorologist, Jason Lynch. Let's take a look at the weather near you. On Tuesday, we got rainy days ahead of us as it's in the mid-40s. And then we go on to Wednesday in the high 40s as the rain goes away and partly cloudy skies. But Thursday, the rain comes back, unfortunately. So stay indoors with low 50s. Then we go on to Friday. The rain goes away once again in the mid-50s. And then Saturday, partly cloudy skies in the low 50s. That's all for the weather outlook today. We'll throw it back to the desk with Michael and Benny for some local news.
What am I looking at here? It's a spaceship. From where? From space? All right, people, let's hit these guys with some PSTV. Did not work.
Probably because it's a TV station and not a laser.
Good stuff. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some news closer to home.
A more than 100-year-old Broadway institution is now on a whole other level, thanks to an amazing and ambitious high-tech preservation project. Jeremy Roth has today's edition of Take a Look at This.
Broadway has seen plenty of stars rise in the theater, but have you ever seen a theater rise on Broadway? Well then, take a look at this. A massive renovation project in Manhattan defied gravity by raising the historic Palace Theater on Broadway some 30 feet over the course of 4 months. That's about 1/4 of an inch an hour for you math nerds. 34 hydraulic lifting posts pushed the 14 million pound theater box upward to the 3rd floor of the building, freeing up some 100,000 square feet of retail space at the street level. The Palace, opened in 1913, is one of Broadway's oldest theaters, and the fact that this ambitious engineering effort was able to preserve the historic venue makes this story kind of, well, uplifting. This next one, however, is a pretty big downer. Residents in a Utah neighborhood were no doubt left with a sinking feeling after a water main break led to flooded homes and a vehicle swallowed whole by a sinkhole. Salt Lake City fire officials shared video of the shocking incident showing the vehicle literally disappearing into the water. At least 2 homes had to be evacuated and were damaged by the flooding. Crews then drained the hole to remove the sunken sedan so work on the busted water main could begin. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
The owner of TurboTax has agreed to pay customers $141 million in restitution after allegedly steering them away from free tax filing services. Filers who use TurboTax's free edition for tax years from 2016 through 2018 will get about $30 for each year they were charged, when they should have been able to use free services. New York Attorney General Letitia James announced a settlement on Wednesday, saying about 4.4 million customers were unfairly charged. James's office said it investigated after a 2019 news report accused TurboTax of steering eligible clients away from its federally supported tax filing products by making them difficult to find web searches. Instead, it allegedly directed them to pay to the paid version of the company's filing services. James said the tactic targeted low-income consumers and admitted that no wrongdoings in the settlement deal.
A former New York police officer is facing jail time for attacking a Washington, D.C. officer during the U.S. Capitol riots. Monday, a jury convicted Thomas Webster on all 6 charges of assaulting Officer Noah Rathbun on January 6th. Webster swung a metal flagpole at police during the riots, then tackled Rathbun to the ground and choked him by his chin strap. He claimed self-defense, but jurors did not buy it. Webster now faces a maximum of 20 years in prison. He's the first rioter jurors have convicted in a police assault case from the insurrection.
Coming up, we'll toss it back to Jason for a look at sports. Stay with us, folks.
Botany Club is a group of students who enjoy learning about and experiencing the natural world, especially plants, through various activities, trips, and service projects. If you're interested in joining Botany Club, please join us at Hudson Hall on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And for more information, reach out to us on Instagram at Botanical Society SUNY Platts. Hope to see you there.
Welcome back. I'm Not Sports Guy Jason Lynch. Let's take a look at some sports near you. Baseball legend Dusty Baker now has a staggering 2,000 career wins under his belt. Baker led the Astros Tuesday night to beat the Seattle Mariners 4-0 in a shutout win. The win makes Baker the 12th manager in Major League history and the first black manager to reach 2,000 wins. Baker has managed a number of teams over his 25-year career, including the San Francisco Giants and the Cincinnati Reds. And he is the only manager to win division titles with 5 different teams. After Tuesday's win, Baker said a number of people have inspired him to reach the milestone, including Hank Aaron, Jackie Robinson, and E. Evan, those who doubted him. Speaking of the Yankees-Blue Jays game, let's take a look at some highlights. Now we go to the bottom of the 5th with 2 men on base as Bo Bichette is on bat, and he drills one deep to left field and getting an RBI single for the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays will go up 1-0. Now top of the 6th, the big man up on base, Aaron Judge, going deep to left field, and it's a dinger, and it will be a solo home run, and it'll be a tie game, but we'll take a look at this highlight later. And yeah. Now we go on to the top of the 7th, 3-1 Yankees with runners on the corners with Jose Trevino getting one to first base, and Vladimir Guerrero gets him in a little pickle, and the Yankees player gets out of it and is safe for the run. Look at that amazing dodge right there. The Blue Jay player thought he had him. Gonzalez thought he was out, but he was safe. 4-1 Yankees. Now, top of the 7th, Yankees are up by 4 with runners on 2 bases, and Aaron Judge hits another one deep to the deep field, and that will get 2 runs for the Yankees and make it 7-1 Yankees, and the final will be the 9-1 Yankees. Now, one nice Blue Jays fan gives a young Yankee fan at home a home run ball. What made it so special, you ask? The fact that it was hit by Aaron Judge. Let's take a look. Now we go back to this highlight as Aaron Judge slaps one deep and into the stands, where Alek Manoah off Malik Monana, and a Blue Jays fan catches the ball and he gives it to a young Yankees fan who bursts into tears of joy. And now we will go back to the desk. That's all I got for sports. Thank you for tuning in. It has been such a fun semester anchoring for weather, sports, and even news on some occasions. So for one last time, from PS News, I'm that sports guy, Jason Lynch.
Jason, as always, thank you. And folks, on behalf of me, Michael, and Jason, we want to thank all of you for joining us on PS News this semester. As Jason just implied, tonight was our last newscast for the semester, and we could not be more appreciative to all of our viewers for joining us every Monday through Wednesday these past few months. We're obviously living in such hectic times right now with everything going on in Eastern Europe, a pandemic that's still in place, and now all the news revolving the Supreme Court and what the future of abortions may be in this country. But just know that here at PS News, we will always be on the side of honesty and transparency, regardless of the story.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Benny. It was a great semester, and I had a lot of fun being a part of PS News. Thank you to everyone who made the newscast possible.
And of course, a special thanks to the folks working behind the scenes who made all of this possible, including the crew, all of the managers, our news director, Aaron Smith, our sports director, Bailey DeLurba, and who is graduating this semester, our executive producer, Camden Spicer, who is also graduating this semester. We wish both him and Bailey the best of luck in their post-college careers, and of course, our wonderful Professor John Chambers. We could not be more appreciative for everything that you guys do. But as always, to stay up to date with PS News and all of Plattsburgh State TV, be sure to follow at Plattsburgh State TV on all of our social media platforms.
Thank you for joining us, and have a good night, Plattsburgh.